Hello everyone. Being raised as Jehovah's Witness, we was told that the world of other religions was going to be destroyed and Jehovah's Witnesses was going to be the only ones going to be on the earth. But that's not what the Bible says. It says a different thing. And before I bring that out, I want to share some information that I found in Watchtower's own literature showing what I'm going to bring out, that Watchtower believed in the Bible before they changed their doctrine teaching. That's what I said, before they changed the doctrine teaching. I'm going to share something with you from their own books. This is The Way to Paradise. This was published by the Watchtower. And you see right here, published by the International Bible Students Association, Brooklyn, New York. This book was written in 1925. And you see a bit more about this book. More close-up of this. So what we're going to do, we're going to play this, and we go from there.
The capital of every country should be in direct and quick communication with all parts of its territory. If Jerusalem is to be the capital of the world, it should be able to get into quick touch with every locality. Christ's kingdom is to undo in 1,000 years all the evil brought about in the previous 6,000 years. Old-fashioned methods will not suffice. Already we see great changes coming in. The wireless and radio can carry messages halfway around the world now, and by the time the princes are brought forth, these inventions will be perfected to reach all the way around. Everybody in the world will be in one room, so to speak. The room will be a little larger than we may have been accustomed to hold meeting in. But what of that? Now when we read Isaiah 2:3 and Zechariah 14:16, 17, we see how easy it will be for all the people to go up to Jerusalem. The princes can easily radio their instructions to any part of the world. Think of Prince Abraham having some general instructions to give, calling attention. No doubt many boys and girls who read this book will like to see Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, Daniel, and those other faithful men of old come forth in the glory of their better resurrection, perfect in mind and body. It will not take long for Christ to appoint them to their posts of honor and authority as his earthly representatives. The world and all the present conveniences will seem strange to them at first, but they will soon become accustomed to the new methods. They may have some amusing experiences at first, for they never saw telephones, radios, automobiles, electric lights, steam engines, and many other things so familiar to us. What a privilege to be living just at this time and to see the ending of the old and the coming in of the new. Of all the times in Earth's history, today is the most wonderful. Who would not desire to become acquainted with those whom God honors? See how it might come into play in one's own experience. Suppose in your own case, for instance, as the blessings of the kingdom expand, and every one becoming the owner of a home of his own, you would be one of them as you were improving it and fixing it up with every convenience possible. Your heart would begin to go out to others. Now that is the way love always works. It is more blessed to give than to receive, so let us suppose that you are among those mentioned in Isaiah 65:21-25.
Okay. Jerusalem is to be the capital of the world, which this is talk about in the Bible, that every nation will come to Jerusalem, and the ones that does not come to Jerusalem, they will not get rainfall. That's in the Bible. So that's one how can nations come to Jerusalem, Jehovah's Witnesses, if all the nations is supposed to be destroyed at Armageddon? How is people supposed to come to Jerusalem when there is no Jerusalem? Or better yet, Jehovah's Witnesses, from this here, how would you go to Jerusalem if you're a Jehovah's Witness when your leader's telling you that Jerusalem is not God's chosen place, or the Jews is not God's chosen people? But in your own literature, it's saying Jerusalem is supposed to be the capital of the world. So that means this was the teaching that Charles T. Russell had. This is the teaching that Judge Rutherford had till around 1930. He changed the teaching from this book in 1925 to 1931. He decided that the Jews was no longer God's people. He decided that the capital of the world is supposed to be Jerusalem, would be the watchtower. So the thing is, Jehovah's Witnesses, you listen to information from a lawyer. Judge Rutherford was a lawyer, a scheming lawyer that wanted to make money. That all he had to do is just preach, and the Bible students would believe him. But the problem is, Jehovah's Witnesses, so a lot of the Bible students did not believe in the new doctrines of of Judge Rutherford, because Judge Rutherford believed Christ died on a cross. This is a picture in the same book. Till he could not control the Bible students, so they was leaving him because they didn't want to believe in his new doctrine that Christ died upon a stake. And like I said, this book was around when he became vice president in 1916 or 1917, and he believed that Christ died on the cross. So why did he change the cross to a stake? Because he didn't want no teachings of Charles T. Russell to be in his new organization, the new Watchtower. So that means, Jehovah's Witnesses, the man that gave you the name Jehovah's Witnesses was actually a scam artist down to up to our time, to deceive you to believe he had the truth. All he was, a drunken lawyer pretending to be a preacher that he was not. And he was believing all the lies of Charles T. Russell. And we saw there's no hope in his lies because everything was falling apart of the false prophecies when the world was going to end. So Judge Rutherford, in this 1925 book, and The Millions Now Living Will Never Die, Harp of God, the Book of Salvation, all of them predicted the world was going to end in 1925. And that's the reason they built the house in San Diego, California, Beth Sherem, that he lived in till he died in that same house, all to get money so he could get rich, living off of you, Jehovah's Witnesses. And the sad part about the government body today is doing the same thing. They're taking your money live in a hog heaven, and you're willing to give it, just like the people at that time in 1925 was giving all their money to Judge Rutherford for their 1925 lies about the world was going to end in 1925. People, you need to wake up. You need to realize Christ died the way you see it right now. His arms was not above his head. This is the way the Romans crucify all of their prisoners. And Watchtower today is teaching you a lie. And I'm sorry if you don't want to believe me, but when your leaders was liars, is liars, and the one who started this foundation of the Jehovah's Witnesses or the original Bible students, Charles T. Russell, he was just a man that wanted to make money, and that's what he did. They say he was penniless, he had no money. That's a lie. A guy can't travel around the world. He can't go on boats to go to Jerusalem for free. He couldn't go all the way around the world preaching if he didn't have money to do that. That was coming out of your money, Jehovah's Witnesses. So you need to realize you are in a false religion. You need to wake up and see the truth behind the lies of the Watchtower, because you are losing. And when you follow a false prophet, you will die with a false prophet. When you eat with a false prophet, you're going to die with a false prophet. And that's what the Watchtower is. Jerusalem will be the capital of the world. The Jews will have the truth before the Gentiles, and that's us. Christ will return to Jerusalem, not to the Watchtower. People, you need to read the Bible. The Bible tells you Christ will return to Jerusalem. God will return to Jerusalem. If there's no Jerusalem, then they can't return. They're not going to the Watchtower. The Bible is written about the Jews, for the Jews. Salvation is through the Jews, through Christ, not the Watchtower, Jehovah's Witnesses. Wake up. Have a nice day.